You stand at a moment of quiet power, a place within yourself where the noise of doubt dissolves and the truth of who you are rises to its rightful position. Nothing outside of you determines the course of your relationships, and nothing within you is ever powerless. You are the one who decides, the one who claims, the one who imagines, and what you imagine with persistence becomes the very fabric of your reality. When you understand the force you carry, you will see that the person you love, the one who once seemed distant, unsure, confused, or gone, cannot help but return. They are drawn back not by persuasion, not by effort, not by pleading, but by the natural magnetism of the state you accept as true within yourself. The warning is simple and absolute. If you fully and faithfully claim the reality of being loved, chosen, wanted, pursued, and valued, they will come back and beg to be with you. Not because you forced anything, but because you finally aligned with the version of yourself that they were always meant to gravitate toward. There is a moment in every journey where you must decide whether to continue feeding the illusion of separation or to step boldly into the awareness of unity. What you desire in love is already yours in the unseen realm, and the person you think you lost has never been lost at all. They exist as an extension of your inner world, responding moment by moment to the assumptions you hold. When you assume rejection, you experience rejection. When you assume confusion, you experience confusion. But when you assume certainty, when you claim in the silence of your being that you are the one they love deeply, the one they chase, the one they fight for, something begins to shift. It may not be visible in the outer world at first, but the movement is immediate. The moment you change your inner conversation, the entire universe reorganizes itself around your new decision. They feel the pull. They sense the shift. They experience an unexplainable longing to reach out, to return, to reconnect. You are not waiting on them. They are moving toward you. Every desire you hold is a divine nudge, a signal that what you want is already there in the invisible form, prepared to unfold. The desire for this person, the desire for their love, their devotion, their presence, their attention. This desire is not a mistake. It is the evidence that the relationship already exists in potential and is seeking expression. You do not need to push, chase, convince, or analyze. You only need to assume the feeling of being chosen and beloved. The moment you do, reality bends to accommodate your inner truth. What once felt like a chase becomes a natural attraction. What once felt like loss becomes reunion. What once felt like uncertainty becomes inevitability. They will come back because they are tied to the version of you that embodies love effortlessly. And once you become that version, they cannot stay away. Think of the countless times your imagination has created experiences without your awareness. A fear that played out, a hope that became real, an expectation that unfolded naturally. Everything began in the unseen. This is the same principle that governs your love life. What you accept as true internally becomes the outer world you walk through. If you decide they miss you, they will miss you. If you decide they regret leaving, they will feel that regret. If you decide they can't stop thinking about you, their mind will be filled with you. And if you decide they are returning with clarity and devotion, it becomes a certainty rather than a possibility. The task is never to manipulate someone. The task is to assume the state of being the one they love fully and unconditionally. The outer world follows. It has no choice. You are not here to suffer through uncertainty. You are not here to beg for attention. You are here to recognize the power that has always lived inside you. When you close your eyes and imagine the feeling of their arms around you, the warmth of their presence, the sound of their voice telling you they want only you, you are not fantasizing. You are claiming. You are selecting the version of reality you want to experience. And because consciousness is the only creative force, what you select becomes inevitable. They will come back, because the story you tell within becomes the script they follow outwardly. The more you persist in the inner experience, the more urgently they feel compelled to match it. It is important to understand that nothing you see right now has the power to stop what you are creating. They may be silent, they may be distant, they may be with someone else, they may have blocked. You walked away or said things that felt final. But these conditions are not final. They are remnants of an old state you no longer occupy. Once you shift your inner world, the outer world must follow with absolute obedience. The silence breaks, the distance collapses, the confusion dissolves, the third party vanishes, the block lifts, the coldness turns warm, the final words become meaningless. Everything rearranges itself to reflect your new assumption. You are the love of their life, and they are returning to you with unmistakable clarity. This is why the warning is so powerful. Once you claim this inner reality, there is no going back. They will come back, and when they do, their desire for you will be unmistakable, undeniable, and unwavering. There is something profoundly magnetic about a person who no longer questions their worth. When you stop looking outward for confirmation, when you stop waiting for signs, when you stop hoping and start knowing, you shift into the state of having, not waiting, not wishing, having. And the moment you step into this energy, the other person feels it. It touches them in their sleep, in their quiet moments, in their thoughts when they least expect it. They feel your presence not as desperation, but as certainty. They feel your love not as longing, but as fulfillment. They feel drawn to you because you have stopped chasing and started embodying. This is the version of you they are unable to resist. Every time you choose the inner state over the outer appearance, you strengthen the invisible bond between you and the outcome you want. You may not see immediate physical evidence, but the evidence in consciousness is always instant. Your assumption becomes the new cause. The outer world becomes the effect, and the effect cannot fail to appear. They will come back because your inner state demands it. The universe cannot deny a mind. That is certain. When you declare, they love me, they choose me, they want me, they are on their way to me, you are giving the universe instructions. It responds, it obeys, it unfolds exactly as you have determined. Imagine the moment they return. Imagine the tone in their voice, the softness in their eyes, the sincerity with which they speak. Imagine them confessing that they could not stop thinking about you, that something kept pulling them back, that they realized you are the one they cannot lose. Feel the relief, the joy, the warmth of that moment. Live in it internally, again and again, until the inner moment becomes more real to you than any outer circumstance. This is not daydreaming, this is creation, and creation always seeks expression. The more real the inner moment becomes, the faster it solidifies into your physical life. They will come back because you have already held the reunion in consciousness, and consciousness is the only source of all reality. There is no need to check the physical world for signs of movement. The movement is within. Every time you affirm your worth, the signal strengthens. Every time you imagine the end, the bridge of events begins building itself. Every time you refuse to entertain doubt, the path becomes clearer. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle. And as soon as you embody the version of yourself who is already loved, already chosen, already reunited, you activate the chain of events that leads them straight back to you. No one has free will except in alignment with your assumption. This is not control. It is the natural function of consciousness. People simply reflect the state you hold about yourself and about them. If you decide they are unsure, they reflect uncertainty. If you decide they are cold, they behave coldly. But when you decide they are yours fully and wholeheartedly, when you decide they cannot stand being apart from you, when you decide they want only you, their behavior aligns with that decision. On. They come back not out of obligation but out of genuine desire. The desire arises from the image you hold within, and that inner image is the only truth that matters. Let the world say what it wants. Let doubt whisper if it must. Let circumstances appear contradictory. None of it has any authority unless you give it authority. Your inner state is the author. The outer world is the page. And you are writing the story of reunion, devotion, and love. When you hold the ending with unshakable knowing, everything else becomes irrelevant. They will come back because the ending you have chosen requires their return. They will choose you because you have claimed yourself as the one who is chosen. They will ask for another chance because you have already accepted the reality where they belong with you. Do not underestimate the power that lives in you. This is the power that forms worlds, bends circumstances, reshapes timelines, and moves hearts. When you use it deliberately, you become unstoppable. The person you want is not out of reach. They are not beyond influence. They are connected to you through the invisible field of consciousness that binds all things. As you shift, they shift. As you decide, they respond. As you imagine, they move. This is the unseen mechanism working continuously in your favor. So enter the state now. See yourself as the one they treasure. Feel yourself as the one they chase. Know yourself as the one they return to. Accept that your inner world is the true cause and that the outer world is already rearranging. Let the feeling of certainty wash through your chest, your breath, your thoughts. Let the knowing settle into your bones. You are not imagining a possibility, you are remembering a truth. The relationship is already yours. The love is already yours. The reunion is already unfolding. There is no resistance in the state of fulfillment. T. Here is no impatience, no fear, no searching for clues. There is only calm, confidence, and inevitability. When you live from this place, the world has no choice but to reflect it. They will come back because you have assumed the version of yourself that they are meant to be with. And once you make this shift, it is done. The outer world simply catches up. The warning stands. Once you step into the state of being the one they desire above all else, the one they come back to, the one they commit to fully, you cannot stop the unfolding. They will return. They will reach out. They will seek you. They will long for you. They will do everything in their power to be with you, because you have finally claimed the truth. You were never abandoned, never rejected, never unloved. You simply had to remember who you are. And now that you have remembered, the outcome is guaranteed. You will begin to notice subtle shifts in your inner world first, gentle movements of reassurance that whisper to you that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The more you accept the truth of your chosen reality, the more effortless it becomes to ignore the shadows of doubt. You start to walk through your days with a quiet authority, a certainty that cannot be shaken, because you are no longer reacting to the world, you are creating it from within. This shift is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is soft, steady, and powerful. And as this inner certainty grows, the outer world begins to bend toward your new identity. You will feel moments where you sense their energy reaching for you, pulling toward you, even if they say nothing, even if you see no evidence yet. You may pause in the middle of your day and feel a sudden warmth, a subtle connection, a flicker of their presence. This is the beginning of their return. They are feeling the movement within you, the silent magnetic shift that awakens. Something deep inside them. They cannot explain it, and they do not need to. It is the natural reaction to your inner decision. The more you live in the state of being loved, the stronger the pull becomes on their end. They begin to question their decisions, their choices, their distance. They begin to feel an emptiness where your presence once was. They begin to feel compelled to reconnect, to hear your voice, to feel your energy again. This is the invisible journey they are taking back to you. There will be moments where your mind tries to pull you back into the old story, reminding you of the things they said, the way they acted, the separation that happened. But those memories have no power unless you choose to relive them. They are simply echoes of a past state you no longer occupy. The moment you shift your inner identity, those old realities dissolve. And though they may flash in your mind from time to time, they cannot create anything new unless you give them your attention. Instead, gently return to the inner world where you are cherished, where you are the priority, where you are wanted deeply. This is the world that creates your future. As you persist, you will notice your self-concept transforming. You begin to speak to yourself differently. You begin to treat yourself differently. You begin to walk differently, breathe differently, even look at your own reflection differently. You are no longer someone hoping to be chosen. You are someone who is chosen effortlessly. And this change is the most powerful thing you can do. When you elevate your identity, the whole world rises to match it. The person you want rises to match it. They feel the difference in you even from a distance. They feel the shift in your energy, the newfound stability and confidence. They sense that you are no longer seeking them, but simply knowing them as yours. And this creates an undeniable attraction within them, a longing that grows stronger each day. You might find yourself smiling at moments where you once felt anxious. You may feel a calm come over you when you think of them, no longer wondering what will happen, but knowing what must happen. This is the inner evidence of your transformation. You have stepped into the identity of someone whose love life is secure, harmonious and overflowing. And because the outer world has no choice but to reflect this identity, the person you love begins moving toward you with increasing clarity. There will be a point where you stop noticing the absence of the old fears. They simply fade. The desire for reassurance fades. The need to check, to predict, to control fades. You feel secure without trying. This is the true sign that the shift has taken root. And the moment this inner stability solidifies, the outer movement accelerates. You may hear from them unexpectedly, or you may hear from someone connected to them. They may show up in your dreams, your thoughts, your memories, not as something you cling to, but as something that flows naturally. They may appear in your world in ways you did not expect, ways that feel almost orchestrated with precision. Every moment is a bridge leading you toward the outcome you have already claimed. They begin to feel the absence of your old anxious energy, the energy that once chased, sought, or doubted. And when that energy disappears, they are left with the truth of their own feelings. They begin to realize how much you meant. They begin to feel the emptiness of separation. They begin to feel the desire to reconnect. The certainty they once lacked becomes clarity. The confusion they once felt becomes direction. The distance they once maintained collapses. They feel an urgency, a need to reach out, a pull they cannot ignore. And this pull is the direct reflection of inner state you now embody. Do not underestimate the impact this transformation has on them. Even if their outer actions appear unchanged for a moment, their inner world is shifting rapidly. They replay moments with you, they rethink their decisions, they question their assumptions, they remember your love, your presence, your warmth. They feel a longing they can't quite explain, a longing that grows every day. And as you persist in your new state, that longing becomes a realization. They realize you are the one they want. They realize they cannot replace your energy. They realize they are meant to be with you. They begin to imagine the life they want to build with you, the conversations they want to have, the apologies they need to make, the closeness they want to rebuild. They start to feel the desire to make things right, to fix what was broken, to show up differently. These feelings do not arise randomly. They arise because your inner decision has rewritten the script, and they are responding to it naturally. Every moment you remain in the state of being loved strengthens the connection. Every moment you embody the identity of someone desired deepens their devotion. Every moment you choose inner certainty over outer appearance brings them closer. They are walking back toward you, drawn by the love that now radiates from you effortlessly. They may resist for a moment, but the resistance cannot last. Your inner state is too powerful. Your certainty is too magnetic. Your energy is too aligned. They are already on their way to you, whether you can see it or not. And as the days pass, the pull becomes undeniable. They begin to feel that nothing in their world feels right without you. They feel restless, distracted, unsure of why their heart keeps circling back to you. They try to move on, but something stops them. They try to forget, but they cannot. They try to ignore the longing, but it grows stronger. They begin to feel a need to reach out, a need to hear your voice, a need to reconnect. This feeling builds inside them until it becomes impossible to resist. They will reach out, they will initiate, they will return, they will confess what they feel, they will choose you fully, because your inner world has become the source of their desire. And once that desire is awakened, it does not fade, it intensifies. As their desire intensifies, the memories that once felt distant begin to resurface in vivid detail. They remember the comfort of your presence, the softness of your voice, the way you made them feel understood without needing explanations. They remember moments they once took for granted, moments they now realize meant far more than they ever admitted. These memories begin to play in their mind, like scenes from a story they are suddenly afraid to lose forever. This fear is not rooted in panic, but in clarity, clarity that you were the one who brought meaning, stability, and warmth into their life. And this clarity becomes the force that compels them to return. What is happening inside them is the natural reflection of the state you are consistently embodying. You are no longer identifying with lack or longing. You have stepped into the knowing that you are the one chosen. This inner knowing radiates outward in ways that influence them on levels they cannot articulate. They begin to feel a shift, as if something inside them is urging them to act, to fix, to reconnect. They may try to distract themselves, but every distraction collapses into thoughts of you. They may try to convince themselves they've moved on, but the conviction falls apart the moment they feel the emptiness that follows. The truth grows louder in their heart. They want you, they miss you, they need you. And as this truth expands within them, you will begin to notice changes in your own emotional world. You feel a calm that once seemed impossible. You feel the absence of anxiety that used to cloud your mind. You feel a sense of natural anticipation, not from impatience, but from the deep understanding that you are finally aligned with what has always been yours. You may find yourself smiling without reason. You may feel a soft warmth in your chest. You may feel a sense of familiarity with the reality you have claimed, as though it is not something you are waiting for, but something you are stepping into. These sensations are not random, they are signs of alignment, indicators that your outer world is catching up to the inner certainty you now hold. The way you perceive yourself shifts in extraordinary ways. You begin to see your own beauty, your own worth, your own magnetism more vividly. You stop questioning your value in anyone's life. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop seeking validation from outside sources. You stop worrying about timelines. Your sense of self becomes rooted so deeply in your own inner truth that the world feels different around you. Interactions feel different. Your presence feels different. You feel more grounded, more centered, more powerful. This shift is what makes you irresistible, not because you are trying to be, but because you are finally aligned with the version of yourself who has always been irresistible. This change does not just affect you, it affects everyone connected to you. People may start treating you with more respect, more admiration, more interest. Even strangers may respond to you differently. This is how you know that your inner transformation has reached its full expression. The world always mirrors the identity you accept, and now the identity you have assumed is one of certainty, confidence, and divine magnetism. The person you want cannot escape this magnetic pull because it is not manipulation, it is alignment, it is truth, it is the natural reaction to the state of being you occupy. Meanwhile, they are becoming increasingly aware of the void your absence has created. The silence that once felt manageable becomes heavy. The distance they believed would bring clarity only makes their longing sharper. The idea of life without you begins to feel unrealistic, even painful. They replay conversations, messages, moments of laughter, moments of vulnerability. They remember the way you looked at them, the way you understood them, the way you made them feel significant. These memories do not fade, they intensify, they take root in their heart in ways they cannot ignore. This internal pressure grows until it becomes a need, not a preference, a need to reach out, a need to fix things, a need to reconnect. They begin imagining what they would say to you, how they would explain themselves, how they would apologize, how they would express what has been building inside them. They may practice scenarios in their mind, imagining the moment they return to you. They may think of the words they wish they had said, the chances they wish they had taken, the things they regret doing or not doing. These thoughts become a quiet storm, pushing them closer and closer to action. And while all of this unfolds, you remain anchored in your chosen identity. You remain calm, secure, fulfilled. The inner relationship you've built with yourself becomes the foundation that holds everything else together. You are no longer the version of yourself who doubts, who fears, who waits. You are the version who knows. You walk through your days with the ease of someone who has already received what they desired. You no longer question whether they will return. You know they are returning. The energy around you reflects this knowing. The way you speak, the way you move, the way you think reflects this knowing. It becomes a part of your essence. And as your essence strengthens, their urge to return becomes undeniable. The connection between you becomes more active, more alive, more potent. They feel it when they wake up. They feel it during quiet moments. They feel it even in distractions. They feel it most when they try to ignore it. Something inside them whispers that they are meant to be with you, that they cannot keep running from what they feel, that the door they once closed needs to be opened again. And this whisper grows louder each day. You may feel sudden waves of warmth in their direction, not from longing, but from the awareness that they are thinking of you. You may feel unexpected moments of peace, as though the universe is assuring you that everything is aligned. These inner sensations are signs of movement, signs of connection, signs that the outer world is catching up to the truth you've established within. You are now living in the inevitability of their return, and they are living in the realization of their desire for you. The closer they get, the more natural everything feels. There is no resistance in you, no panic, no fear. There is only certainty. And this certainty becomes the final signal that guides them back into your life. Their inner world begins to shift so dramatically that even they cannot make sense of it. They may find themselves pausing in the middle of something ordinary, feeling a weight in their chest they cannot explain, a pull toward you that interrupts their thoughts. They may feel a sudden urge to check your profile, to look at your photos, to revisit old messages, to hear your voice again. These urges are not random, they are reflections of the new reality you have established within yourself. As you remain aligned with the state of being loved and chosen, they feel that shift as if it were their own emotion rising from within. Your inner assumption becomes their outer desire. Their mind tries to rationalize what they feel. They may tell themselves they are simply curious, that they are just reminiscing, that it's nothing serious. But the feeling doesn't fade, it grows, it follows them through their day. It shows up when they try to rest, it appears when they least expect it. The connection becomes something they cannot escape, not because you are holding on to them, but because you have released resistance and stepped into the identity where you are naturally irresistible. This is the paradox of true manifestation. When you no longer grasp, the other person reaches. When you no longer long for them, they long for you. When you no longer feel incomplete without them, they feel incomplete without you. And as this shift deepens, they begin to question how things ever fell apart in the first place. They look back on the moments of separation with new clarity, seeing where they misunderstood, where they reacted from fear, where they allowed ego to guide their decisions. They may even feel embarrassed about how they acted, confused by their old choices, surprised that they ever doubted what they felt for you. Their heart begins to rewrite the narrative, realizing that the connection you shared was meaningful, rare, irreplaceable. This realization is not forced. It emerges naturally because you have already rewritten the inner story. Meanwhile, you begin to experience the world with new softness. The calm that surrounds you becomes your default state. You move through your day with an elegance that comes from inner certainty. You no longer question whether you are enough. You know you are more than enough. You no longer question whether you are loved. You feel love radiating from within you. You no longer wonder if they will come back. You simply know are returning. And this knowing creates an atmosphere around you, a magnetic field that others can sense instinctively. People respond to your presence with more warmth, more interest, more admiration. Your self concept blooms like a flower, and everything in your reality blooms with it. This inner transformation makes the world feel lighter, tasks feel easier, silence feels peaceful rather than empty. You begin to enjoy your own company more deeply. You begin to feel gratitude for the present moment, even before your outer desire manifests fully. This gratitude is not forced. It rises from the awareness that everything is unfolding in your favor. The desire you once held with tension now exists in your mind as something settled, something certain, something inevitable. You do not chase it. You do not question it. You simply allow it to unfold. As this alignment becomes your natural state, the universe begins orchestrating the outer bridge of events that lead to your reunion. These events may be subtle or unexpected. The person you want may hear something that reminds them of you. They may see something that triggers a memory. They may have a dream that feels overwhelmingly real. They may feel a sudden urge to reach out, even if they have no rational reason to do so. The bridge of events always appears in ways that feel natural, yet perfectly designed to bring both of you back into alignment. There will come a point where they can no longer ignore what they feel. The longing becomes a truth they must address. The emptiness without you becomes too heavy to carry. The clarity of their emotions becomes too vivid to deny. They begin to feel a mixture of urgency and vulnerability, a desire to reconnect that grows stronger with each passing day. They might pick up their phone, type a message, then delete it, unsure of what to say. They might rehearse conversations in their mind, imagining how you might respond. They might speak to friends about you, seeking advice, yet knowing deep down that the decision is already made. Their heart is guiding them back to you, and their mind is slowly realizing it must follow. As this inner storm intensifies within them, you remain steady. You do not chase, you do not worry, you do not rush. You sit in the fullness of your chosen reality, knowing that the outer world is aligning to match your inner certainty. This calm becomes the final piece that draws them in, because there is nothing more attractive than someone who is sure of who they are and what they deserve. Your energy becomes a safe place for them, a place they long to return to, a place where they feel seen and valued. They begin imagining the moment of return more vividly. They think about what they will say, how they will express what has been building inside them, how they will show you they mean it this time. They begin to feel a sense of responsibility, a desire to show up correctly, a desire to be worthy of your presence. This is the natural mirror of your own inner state. As you see yourself as someone worthy of love, they begin to see you as someone they must not lose again. The more you live in the fullness of your inner identity, the stronger their desire becomes. They may try to distract themselves with work, hobbies, people, or familiar patterns, but everything feels hollow. Nothing satisfies the ache they feel. Nothing replaces the connection they had with you. Nothing silences the whisper inside them that says they must return. And that whisper becomes a call, and that call becomes an urge, and that urge becomes an action they cannot resist. And in the space between your calm inner knowing and their rising inner urgency, the moment of return begins to move toward you like a quiet but unstoppable tide. They start to knot. Ice that every path they take, every distraction they choose, every attempt to move forward without you leads them back to the same inner truth. They cannot escape the connection because the connection is no longer fueled by anxiety or fear. It is fueled by your certainty. It is fueled by your quiet confidence. It is fueled by your assumption that they are already yours. This assumption becomes a silent force that moves through their days and nights like a gentle but persistent current, guiding their thoughts back to you over and over again. And as this current strengthens, the people around them may begin to notice shifts in their behavior. They may seem quieter, more reflective, more withdrawn into their thoughts. They may become easily distracted, their mind drifting back to memories of you even in the middle of conversations. They may feel an unexplainable heaviness when they think about staying away from you, as if something inside them is resisting the idea of being without you. This resistance grows each day until it becomes impossible to ignore. They begin to feel drawn to places you once shared, songs you once listened to together, moments that once felt so ordinary but now feel weighted with meaning. They may stumble upon objects, photos, or messages that remind them of you, as if the universe is gently nudging them toward the realization they have been avoiding. And each reminder softens them a little more. Each memory opens their heart a little wider. Each thought dissolves the distance between you and them. Meanwhile, you continue to move through your reality with the ease of someone who no longer fights against what they desire. You breathe differently. You think differently. Even your silence holds power now. You've stopped asking when. You've stopped worrying how. You've stopped looking for signs. Instead, you've become the sign. You've become the embodiment of the outcome. And when you become the embodiment of the outcome, reality has no choice but to follow. This inner alignment allows you to see your life through a new lens. Everything feels softer, more fluid, more aligned. You begin to trust yourself in a way you never have before. You begin to trust your inner voice, your intuition, your knowing, and as you trust yourself, you naturally trust the unfolding of your desire. You no longer need outer reassurance, because the reassurance comes from within. This inner foundation becomes unshakable, and this unshakable foundation is exactly what calls your person home. As the energy between you continues to shift, they begin to feel more open, more vulnerable, more aware of their own emotions. They feel the weight of everything left unsaid. They feel the pull to correct what they broke, to repair what they damaged, to reclaim what they lost. They begin to feel a sense of urgency not because they fear losing you, but because they realize how deeply they want you. This realization dawns on them like a quiet sunrise, soft, gradual, and undeniable. They may try to convince themselves that reaching out is risky, that things may not go the way they imagined, that perhaps you've moved on. But this hesitation cannot overpower the truth rising within them. Their heart overrides their mind. Their desire overrides their fear. Their longing overrides their hesitation. They become willing to face their vulnerability because the desire to be with you grows stronger than their fear of rejection. You may feel this shift as a soft internal warmth. You may feel sudden waves of calm, as if the universe is whispering that everything is aligning perfectly. You may feel moments of certainty so strong that they silence every doubt. These inner sensations are not coincidence. They are evidence of the energetic bridge being built between in your state of knowing and their state of awakening. Your inner stability is guiding them back toward you, step by step, thought by thought, emotion by emotion. They begin to realize that the connection they shared with you was not temporary, it was not accidental, it was not something they can replicate elsewhere. It was meaningful, deep, and transformative. They feel this truth with increasing intensity, and it begins to shape their decisions. They imagine the life they could have with you, the moments of stability, affection, warmth, and understanding. They imagine the conversations they want to have, the closeness they want to rebuild, the future they want to create. The more they imagine this future, the more real it feels. The more real it feels, the more it pulls them. They may go through waves of emotion, regret, longing, nostalgia, hope, but each wave brings them closer to you. Each wave dissolves another layer of resistance. Each wave pushes them toward action. And all the while, you remain grounded in the truth that you are the one they want, not from ego, but from inner alignment, not from desperation, but from certainty, not from hoping, but from knowing. This knowing becomes a magnetic light that guides them, even when they cannot see the path clearly. They feel your energy as a safe place, a familiar place, a place they long to return to. Soon their inner urge grows too strong to ignore. They begin to prepare their words, their apologies, their explanation. They begin to rehearse the things they want to say, the way they want to express what they've been feeling. They may feel nervous, uncertain of how you will respond, but the desire to reconnect is stronger than the fear. They move closer to reaching out, closer to breaking the silence, closer to returning to you with the openness they once resisted. And as they approach this moment, the energy between you becomes electric, alive, vibrant with possibility. The outer world begins to shift in your favor, responding to the inner truth you've lived in so consistently. And as you breathe into this truth, you begin to feel a gentle shift inside you, a rearranging of subtle currents, as though life itself is leaning toward you, listening to you, reshaping itself according to the certainty moving within you. You no longer wonder how they will return or when or what must change out there. You know the only change that matters is the one happening within your own awareness right now. You start to realize that your inner world is not a place of imagination or fantasy. It is the original blueprint from which all outer experiences spring. Every feeling you cultivate, every assumption you accept, every inner conversation you choose is a seed that must bloom in your physical reality. And because you have chosen to accept the assumption that they are coming back, that they are moving toward you with love and devotion, that they are realizing your worth with clarity, the seed is already alive, already unfolding, already taking shape in the unseen. You start to witness the quiet evidence of this truth through your emotions. The tightness loosens, the heaviness dissolves, the longing softens into certainty. You no longer feel that chasing energy that once made you restless. You no longer carry the fear that once made you feel small. Instead, you embody a calm confidence, an inner knowing that has nothing to do with their past behavior or circumstances, and everything to do with the reality you're assuming now. That inner shift becomes its own magnet, calling them, drawing them, pulling them back into your orbit in ways you couldn't predict, in timing you couldn't orchestrate with your logical mind. There's a profound power in understanding that the version of them who left is not the same version being summoned by your assumption now. You are not attracting the one who doubted, who hesitated, who walked away. You are attracting the transformed version who recognizes your value effortlessly, who feels an unexplainable pull toward you, who finds themselves thinking of you in moments they cannot control. They feel a tightening in their heart when they picture you with someone else, even if you never said a word about it. They replay your words, your presence, your energy in their mind because the assumption you accepted within yourself has impressed itself onto them. They feel you, they sense you. They are being guided back to you not through logic, but through inevitability. And as this process unfolds, you no longer engage in inner conversations that contradict your desire. You don't slip into memories of the past or reinforce stories of rejection, abandonment, or betrayal. You only allow the version of them who adores you. You speak to them inwardly with the tone of someone who knows they are cherished. You hear their voice telling you how much you mean to them. You feel their arms around you, their apology, their longing, their realization that they cannot run from the truth any longer. These inner dialogues are not daydreams, they are creative acts, they are the energetic instructions being delivered directly into the fabric of your reality. You begin to realize that your imagination is the realm where everything is already accomplished. When you imagine them texting you, calling you, showing up for you, confessing to you, you're not pretending, you're tuning into the version of reality that already exists. And the more you dwell in that version, the more solid it becomes until it must appear in your physical world with absolute precision. You're not waiting for them, you're aligning with the version where they are already seeking you, already returning, already placing you at the center of their heart. And as you continue to accept this inner reality, something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop feeling like a person who hopes they come back, and you become the person for whom their return is simply natural. You notice your self concept rising. You walk differently. You think differently. You stop seeing yourself as someone abandoned or forgotten, and you see yourself as someone chosen, desired, magnetized. You realize they didn't leave because something was lacking in you. They left because you had not yet stepped into this powerful awareness. But now that you have, life has no choice but to reorganize itself around your new identity. You feel yourself becoming the person who is loved deeply, fully, passionately. You start to see yourself as the one they cannot replace, the one they cannot shake from their mind, the one they cannot move on from, no matter how hard they try. Not because of pride or ego, but because your value is undeniable, your energy unforgettable, your presence irreplaceable. When you assume this identity, they feel it instantly. They feel the shift even from a distance. They may not understand why, but suddenly they begin to miss you with an urgency they cannot explain. They become aware of the empty spaces where your energy used to be. They start comparing everyone to you, and no one measures up. Their mind drifts back to you in quiet moments, in crowded rooms and late night thoughts they can't silence. This is the natural effect of your assumption. You are not forcing them back. You're calling them back through the truth of who you now know yourself to be. And as you hold this knowing consistently, the bridge of events begins to form between you and the moment they return. You don't control the bridge. You don't have to know the details. You don't have to manipulate the IR behavior or chase signs. You trust that the bridge is already being built in the unseen, and you simply walk through your life anchored in the certainty that it is done. Your job is only to persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to remain loyal to the version of reality where they are already back, already committed, already expressing what you always deserve to hear. Every moment you dwell in that feeling, you accelerate their return. Every time you choose the inner scene over the outer circumstances, you reclaim your power. Every time you assume the outcome is guaranteed, you pull them closer. And the more natural this inner conviction becomes, the sooner the physical expression must appear. You begin to notice that even the smallest moments throughout your day become opportunities to return to your inner certainty. A quiet walk, a pause between tasks, a moment before sleep, all become gateways where you remind yourself of the truth you've chosen. Instead of drifting into doubt or replaying old stories, you gently guide your mind back to the feeling of being wanted, chosen, loved. You rehearse the warmth of their presence, the softness of their voice, the sincerity in their eyes when they finally confess what's been building inside them. You let these sensations sink deeper than thought, deeper than imagination, until they settle into the very foundation of your being. And as this inner work continues, the outer world begins to reflect changes so subtle at first that you might almost miss them. You notice synchronicities. You hear their name unexpectedly. You think of them just moments before something reminds you of them. You may even feel sudden waves of emotion that seem to come from nowhere, waves that might not even be your own, but theirs. They are feeling the pull, the shift, the inevitability of coming back to you. Their heart is turning toward why, even when their mind hasn't caught up yet. They may try to distract themselves, but the feeling follows them everywhere. It grows inside them like a quiet yearning that becomes harder and harder to ignore. They start to question their decisions. They revisit memories they once pushed aside. They wonder what you're doing now, whether you still think of them, whether someone else has replaced them. This is not manipulation, it is the natural movement of consciousness responding to your assumption. Your acceptance of the end has already touched their inner world. It has already awakened in them the truth they once failed to see clearly. And all the while, you remain steady, you remain confident. You no longer seek reassurance from the outer world because you've stopped looking to it as the source of your fulfillment. You know the outer world is secondary, a mirror, a follower of the inner. So you don't panic at delays or question yourself when nothing seems to be happening. You understand that nothing happening is impossible. The moment you assumed the end, something began. The instant you felt the truth of their return, the universe started rearranging itself to deliver that outcome to you. Every person involved, every circumstance, every conversation, every chance encounter is being aligned in ways you cannot yet see. But you trust it. You trust the unfolding because you know you set it in motion. You no longer wonder whether you're powerful enough. You know you are. You've seen how your inner world shapes your emotions, your confidence, your presence. And now you see how it shapes the behavior of others as well. When you carry yourself with the certainty of being loved, the world must reflect that. When you assume you are the one they choose, the one they crave, the one they return to, life bends around that assumption. You do not chase, you attract. You do not beg, you become the magnet. You do not fear losing them. You know they are already yours in the dimension where consciousness creates first. And as this inner reality grows stronger, you begin to sense the moment approaching, the moment where everything you've been assuming will crystallize into physical form. It might come through a message, unexpected and urgent. It might come through a call where their voice trembles with emotion they can no longer contain. It might come through a face-to-face moment where the truth spills out of them without effort. They may apologize. They may admit they were wrong. They may confess that they tried to move on but couldn't. They may tell you that they felt something pulling them toward you, something they couldn't name, something that made them realize you were the one they should have never let go. And even then, even as they return with sincerity and longing, you will understand that this moment was not luck or chance. It was the inevitable effect of your inner cause. You created it through your assumption, your feeling, your sustained inner certainty. You did not wait for them. You aligned with the reality where they were already coming back. You did not plead for them. You embodied the version of yourself they couldn't stay away from. You did not fight for their affection. You awakened the truth of their affection through your own inner knowing. And so, as you stand in this new awareness, you begin to understand that nothing outside of you ever held the power you once gave it. Not their choices, not their silence, not the circumstances, not the time that passed. The power was always in your assumption, always in your inner world, always in the version of yourself you chose to embody. You have rewritten the story not by force, but by stepping into the truth of who you are. You have claimed the love that was already yours, not through desperation, but through certainty. And now, life has no choice but to reflect that truth back to you in the most undeniable way. They will return, not because you waited, not because you begged, not because you suffered, but because you finally recognized your own value, your own magnetism, your own creative authority. They are being drawn back to the version of you who stands rooted in confidence and calm inevitability. The version of you who knows that love is not earned through struggle but expressed through assumption. The version of you who understands that what you feel within becomes what you live without. So hold your head high. Breathe into the certainty you have cultivated. Walk in the world as the one who is chosen, treasured, and deeply loved. Let the outer world catch up to the truth you have already accepted. Let the bridge unfold. Let the moment of return unfold with the perfection you have summoned. Because the love you desire, the connection you want, the reunion you've envisioned, it is done. It is already yours. And now you simply allow reality to reveal the outcome you have decided. This is your power. This is your truth. And this is the moment everything changes in your favor.